if you want to be able to do anything of real impact, you have to use creatives. And
Yo, people, I went down to the MOBO Fringe Summit and watched some panelists talk about music and AI. I had to grab some interviews.
Hi, my name is Goni.
What's up, man? Angelo.
You spoke a lot about how you've made your own AI agents and all that type of process. What made you think, like, this is something I need to be ahead of, this is something I need to be involved in?
To be honest, I've always had a natural kind of vibe for building software. I've been doing it actually quite a long time, on and off. I used to build my own synths, as a producer with my own sounds, you know what I'm saying, that I would use on songs and on projects. So I've always naturally been technological, been very interested, and the moment just seemed right. I think now that AI has evolved to the point where you can vibe code and build things so easily yourself and test your ideas at a much faster rate, it just seemed like the perfect time.
For sure. And like you spoke about, and other people spoke about, there's been so many technological advances within music, not just with AI and other stuff. Would you kind of compare this to when autotune came in? T-Pain was really famous for that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like a lot of people will be negative about technology at first. Jay-Z did a song, Death of Autotune, like when it first dropped. And I kind of feel like now it's normalized and has been normalized for quite a long time. I think AI is going to be exactly the same. In fact, I think 80% of users on Spotify, they use Spotify in the way like most of us use Netflix, where you just want to be entertained. You click on the home page for something to watch. You don't care if it's a movie with real actors or a Pixar movie. You just want to be entertained. And I think music is moving in that direction where it's kind of like people don't really care. What people care about is how much that song means to them in that moment, whether it's AI or not AI. And that boils down to the creativity of whoever's creating that music, whether it's via prompts or sitting at a piano.
For sure. As someone who's been at the top of the game and for many years making advances in it, like, what's the experience been like through that whole process and then winning it and then afterwards now?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great experience. It's been one that has just been tremendous hard work, never leaving the studio. I slept in the studio for like a year and a half, and so like working with Sam Smith, got Grammy nomination. I went over to LA, I was there in the audience and it was a great moment, but the Grammys is one night, like our careers are our whole lives. Amen. I got a commitment to the creative process, to the creative journey of being able to help new artists break through. And that's what I've always loved. So it's more about the service and the contribution that I can give. And that's always what's driven me more than any award show.
And your words match your actions. I mean, you've created this amazing software.
Yeah. So it's called Sahaya Intelligence and it's an artist growth intelligence system.
Can you see like, this is actually working. It's not just something that might work. This is the way the music game should go.
Yeah, 100%. I've always been super passionate about artists being able to grow, about that. The process of artistic discovery, for someone new who's looking to find themselves and their sound and their creative stamp. And so, we built this platform. We've been testing this platform rigorously across brand new projects with no footprint, with no traction, and built them up to over 30,000 listeners in the space of 6 weeks. So, we're proving that this works. And I think that's like, it's not about just building something for the sake of it. Like, it's about building it and being able to prove that this thing works. Otherwise, what we're doing, we're wasting people's time. And obviously, like, over at Based Audio, like, we truly understand the journey of the artist. And so we've been able to translate that into an app that is actually able to help artists. So, if you guys want to check it out,
check it.
Link below, you know what I'm saying?
Hi, cool. My name is Ngoni and I'm here with
Agyekumhene.
And we were just in a MOBO Fringe Summit panel talking about how music and AI can go together. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, sure. When it comes to AI, as I went and mentioned before, one of the main things that in comparison to what's kind of happened before, because obviously in life doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And so when we went and spoke, when I was in South by Southwest last year, there was, I went and saw an interview with Stephen Bartlett, and he was basically talking about how someone went and told him that back in 1840s, when the first camera was created, what happened was like the artist went and said that was the death of art because they couldn't figure out, they didn't understand that their jobs had changed, but what it really meant was that it was the new opening of art, because essentially what happened was that back in the 1840s, artists were there to basically paint what they saw, but now it meant that they were relieved from those duties because the cameras were able to do that, and then they were able to express themselves in different ways, so using different colors, hyperrealism, like all these different, you had this growth of different expressionisms in art, in the art world. And you see that all the time. I mean, even when it comes to like, the idea of blacksmiths. Like, if you went and said to a blacksmith 150 years ago, oh yeah, there's this new thing called cars and it's going to change the world, blacksmiths are going to be like, nah, it's going to ruin our jobs, it's going to ruin our industry, like we need more horses. And it's like, nah, but the thing is, it's like, cars are better than horses in so many ways than one. And what actually happened off the back of that was you saw a growth of new jobs and new careers off the back of that. That you had engineers, you had civil engineers, you had guys like mechanics, all who were able to, was basically born off the creation of this new technology that people said was going to kill another one. It wasn't that it killed another one, well, it kind of did, but it just created a completely different way of thinking and a completely different way of being able to create work. And so this is what I believe AI is going to do. There's an opportunity for us to be able to take advantage of these technologies, of these tools, and set the standard. Because quite frankly, tech people, they're not in the music industry. They're not creators. They're not creators. And so they're two completely different cultures.
Especially the authenticity about it as well.
100%. And so as a result of that, like, it's important for creatives to utilize these tools so that we can set our own standard and show like, okay, no, we are in control. It's not the tech companies that are in control. We're in control of that. If you want to be able to do anything of real impact, you have to use creatives. And this is why I'm saying to creatives, it's so important for us to be using these tools, be using them, not just like shying away from it because, oh, it's going to take our jobs. It's not going to take our jobs. It's just going to create new jobs. It's just that we are now in a position where we're now dictating what that looks like. So yeah.
Like you're talking about, I mentioned earlier to Michael, about autotune and how a lot of people are scared. He mentioned that Jay-Z had a song called Death to Autotune. But if you look at now, it's so normalized. I mean, look at T-Pain. He was such a successful artist in that time because he utilized it. He wasn't scared of it. So, like you're saying, it's a thing of you just tell the artist that, yo, don't be scared of it.